What's good, everyone? Thank you for stopping by to visit the channel. If you want to hear a different take of college football from an analytical perspective, if you haven't done so already, pound that subscribe button, click the notification bell, and select all so you won't miss another video. Also, like the video, it helps the channel grow, and give me your score prediction in the comment section below. This week we have two games involving ranked versus ranked competition. In this video I am doing a computer projection only and not a prediction for both games. We got Texas A&M and Arkansas at Jerry World. That game will be played on CBS in their usual time slot at 2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern, with Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson on the call. The other game we got is Notre Dame and Wisconsin at Soldier Field in Chicago. That game is on Fox at their usual noon kick slot. 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern, and if you live out west like I do, I will be having coffee and breakfast while watching the game at 9 a.m. So since we got the noon kick game, I'm going to talk Wisconsin and Notre Dame. This is a big test for the Irish, since Wisconsin is coming off of a bye week, and you can say Notre Dame has struggled a little bit in their first three games, and this will be their first game against a quality opponent in Wisconsin. We're going to kick this off with the tail of the tape. As we see here, Wisconsin has a heavy advantage when it comes to overall quality. Bill Connolly's SP Plus ranking and the F Plus metric view Wisconsin as a top 10 team when it comes to the advanced stats. Notre Dame's defense holds an advantage over Wisconsin's offense, and the same goes for the Badger defense. Since it is a neutral site game with no home field advantage, SP Plus gives Wisconsin a 62% win probability. The Vegas line opened up with Wisconsin as a 3-point favorite. At the time of recording, it has jumped as high as 6.5 in favor of the Badgers. The Badgers started their season with a heartbreaking loss to Penn State, a game where they were in control for most of the game. Instead of dwelling on it, they followed up the previous week by hammering an overmatched Eastern Michigan team. Everything was working for the Badgers, whether it was running with Ches Malusi. By the way, they ran the ball a lot to start the game. In fact, they didn't throw a pass until the final 4 minutes of the first quarter. Speaking of that first quarter, the Badgers were operating at ruthless efficiency, starting the game with a 65% success rate on offense. The only thing the Badgers did not do so well was their ability to close drives. By settling for a few field goals, and even with those 2 field goals, they averaged 5 points per scoring opportunity. As far as the Wisconsin defense, anytime you allow a 16% success rate and you allow a 0% success rate for a quarter, there's not much I can say other than keep up the good work, I guess. The Notre Dame advanced box score was not pretty. The Irish offense was far from efficient on Saturday, but the Purdue defense has something to do with that. As you can see, the Boilermaker defense is a solid defense when they play their assignment. But what hurt Purdue was that Jack Cohn and the Irish offense was able to generate enough explosive plays for touchdowns, highlighted by Kyren Williams doing his best Marshawn Lynch impersonation, where he broke the 51-yard touchdown run that put the Irish up, that gave them some breathing room. Still, the offense was more of a boom or bust situation, especially in the running game, where the Boilers stopped the Irish at or behind the line of scrimmage 27% of the time. Defensively, Kyle Hamilton is a cheat code, and he is arguably the best safety in the country. And as we can tell from the chart, the Irish defense hasn't been tested from its efficiency standpoint. They either face an opponent who was good at passing and not good at running the ball in Purdue, or solid at running the ball but not good at passing in Toledo, and you have Florida State who, well, they need help on both sides. But when it comes to these two teams, they are mirror images of each other, as you can tell from their EPA efficiency metric. They are both in the same quadrant, as you can tell, but Notre Dame's offense is slightly higher than Wisconsin's offense. But Wisconsin's defense is a lot better than Notre Dame's, given at the start of the season, but we've only seen 2 games from the Badgers. So my rating system is based on the principles of ELO, but it is structured by the point differential of the average college football team. These ratings are a lot different than the tail of the tape, where I use SP+. So in my model, it has Wisconsin winning the game by the score of 28-22 with a 63.5% win probability. Now, we're done with this one. Let's move on to the next game, which is, for me, the game of the week in my opinion. Texas A&M and Arkansas. Both teams are outstanding defensively, and they are both trending upward. Sam Pittman has done a remarkable job in turning that Arkansas program around, and it goes without saying what Jimbo Fisher has done in College Station. He's got a fantastic team this year. These two teams have played each other 9 times in Cowboys Stadium, and 3 of those victories were by double digits for either team. So it's safe to say these games are typically close, But the Aggies have won 9 in a row against the Razorbacks. 9 times. So let's get into this game, as we always do with the tail of the tape. And as we see, the metrics heavily favor the Aggies in every category, except when Arkansas is on defense. That is a push when they face the Aggie offense. SP Plus has the Aggies as a 10-point favorite with a 72% win probability. However, the Aggies opened up as a 5-point favorite, and it is as high as 5.5 at the time of recording. Now, is there much we can take from this box score? Probably not. The Aggies dominated, at the time, an undefeated New Mexico team, but New Mexico is not in the same universe as Texas A&M. Offensively, the Aggies generated a lot of explosive plays, but the offensive success rate percentage was low relative to the yards per play. The Aggies got talent across the board with Devon Achane, Anaya Smith, who did get injured in the game against New Mexico, Jalen Weidermeyer at tight end, Chase Lane, and Isaiah Spiller. There are a lot of skill guys that can pose a threat in the open field. Zach Calzada has to be sure to be able to get to the ball to those players. Now, the best unit on this team is their defense. From an EPA standpoint, the Aggies are nasty defensively. They are better pass defense than they are at running defense, which is not a slight to A&M because they're good at both, but from a pass defense standpoint, they're an elite bunch. In fact, they held New Mexico to 1.3 yards per pass attempt and a 13% passing success rate. But I have to put their pass defense into some perspective. New Mexico, Kent State, and Colorado are not the best teams from a passing standpoint this early in the year. When you review their offensive efficiency, they are in the help column. You don't want to be in the help column. That means you're not good at both running and throwing. Arkansas has been a nice surprise this year. I ran the post-game win expectancy on every game this year, and Arkansas has had over a 90% post-game win expectancy in all of them. Last week against Georgia Southern was no different. The Razorbacks dominated them. They were solid at both running and throwing. They hit a ton of explosive plays on the ground and through the air. KJ Jefferson did miss some throws, but when he landed them, they went for big gains. As you can see, Georgia Southern's pass defense is no bueno, as Jefferson threw for over 350 yards in the game. The Razorback defense is better than pretty good. They're really good. Arkansas allows 73% of their opponents' rushing averages and 85% of their opponents' passing averages. Arkansas is ranked 11th in the country in defensive EPA, 14th in the country in defensive success rate, and they're 5th in the country in pass defense EPA. Barry Odom has these guys playing really good ball on that side of the field. I know it was Georgia Southern, but they smothered them. Outside of a long touchdown run where they were out of their gap, Arkansas was fantastic defensively. When you review the team efficiency for both units, you will see that both of them are solid defensively. Now, based on Arkansas's offensive production over the last few weeks, they're in the upper right quadrant, which is where you want your football team to be. A&M is not in a terrible spot. They have an elite defense, but they are one fantastic offensive game away to be in that upper right quadrant. All right, so my model for this game has Texas A&M winning by the score of 26-24 with a 53.7% win probability. Bill Connolly's SP Plus ranking has them winning by 10, and if you're following history, I think this game might be a little bit more closer to my model than Bill Connolly's SP Plus. As I said before, these two teams play each other really close. Out of the 9 times, 6 of them were by single digits. So I wouldn't be surprised if this game is down to the wire, end up going into overtime or whatever the case may be, because the Southwest Classic it lives up to its billing. It is a classic, regardless of where Texas A&M is in the hierarchy of the top 25, or if Arkansas is a bad team. Arkansas generally finds a way to make the game ugly, and I wouldn't be surprised. This game is going to be tight. So anywho, that's all I got for this week. Let me know what your thoughts are on both games, or the game that you care about the most in the comment section below. Give me your score prediction and tell me why your respective team is going to win the game. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give the video a like, and if you love college football as much as I do, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and thank you for visiting the channel.